Hey guys, welcome back. Steve here from GraphicDesignerTips.com. In today's episode of Logo Design Bootcamp, we're going to be focusing on the letter P. Now, every week I take a new letter of the alphabet, I design a fictitious brand, and I teach you how to build it using different tools and techniques in Adobe Illustrator. And I guarantee you, in the end, you will become a better graphic designer. So I've been in the printing industry for many years now, so it's only fitting that for the letter P, I design an outrageous, awesome logo for the printing industry. So the logo you're going to be learning from today is called Pixel Perfect Printing. And there's a bunch of tools in Adobe Illustrator. You don't want to miss this one. So let's go. All right, so I really enjoyed putting this logo together. First things first, there are 4 colors that make up the millions of colors we see when it comes to print. That is cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. So that's CMYK, if you've never heard that before. So I wanted to integrate these letters into here, and my whole thing around it was like ink drops. I've been in the printing industry for a while, so I had this kind of idea in mind, and what I did was, since this is based on the letter P, was I depicted these ink drops as the letter P. If you can see, we got a backwards P, we got, P's everywhere. And it's still an ink drop, and it's going, straight down to whatever it's going down on the canvas. In the background, I also made this CMYK, and it's kind of makes it a little bit more three-dimensional. On top of the drops, I did a gradient mesh, which I'm going to show you, which makes it look a little bit more three-dimensional. It kind of adds shadow to the piece. This looks, like it's popping off. The colors, basically, they're not flat, which is what it does, and that's what I'm going to teach you in this tutorial. Pixel Perfect is a font. It's a bitmap font, so you just go to like dafont.com or just search for bitmap fonts to use for this. I also did a bar down here, and I did Helvetica for this type. But the one thing I want to also point out is that, like all my logos, it's just my style. This is how it is with me. I like to make everything very centered and very, I don't like there to be too much weight to one side or the other. So this is a very well balanced logo. And also I just noticed, I forgot to mention, is around the drops, I put these kind of like gradients, which also made it pop out a little bit. And I'll show you how to build all this in Adobe Illustrator CS6. All right, now we're in Adobe Illustrator CS6, and to give you an idea of what my canvas was looking like, basically this is kind of, the evolution of this logo design. So let's jump into our canvas right here, and we're gonna start building this. So I'm gonna get the easy things out of the way first. This is basically broken down into 3 parts. There's the background, there is like the fade in the background, there are the ink drops, and then there is the type. So we're gonna do the easiest part first, which is gonna be the type. So we're gonna come up to our type tool, and we're gonna type in the word Pixel Perfect and hit escape. All right, we're gonna make that a little bit larger. Okay. And actually, let me just make this smaller to get on the okay scale here. Zoom in. All right, so you can find any font like this. It's called a bitmap font. You can find it anywhere on the internet. Next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to type in the word printing in all caps, hit escape, and we're going to change this to just regular Helvetica. You can do Arial, you can do Myriad, and basically what we're going to do is we have this first word, Pixel Perfect. We're going to color it in with that gradient by coming to Type, Create Outlines, or Shift Command O. And we're going to gradate it. I'm just going to select the gradient that I had. But you're going to gradate it from black to blue. Okay? And the word printing, we're going to add some what's called tracking in it. That's actual space after each letter. And we're going to do that by come up to Character, Tracking, and you can set the tracking either by typing it in, or with my magic mouse, I'm just going to move my hand up, my finger up, and it's going to spread it out to where I want it to be. And what I'm now going to do is I'm going to make this a little bit smaller and kind of put it where I want it. And now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create this little piece in here. And what I did was I created a rectangle, basically, and I'm going to zoom in here, and what I did was I hit the plus sign on my keyboard to add a point. So I add a point here, and I add a point to the middle over here on the other side. And basically all I'm doing is, with my direct selection, or A on the keyboard, is I'm going to grab these points, and I'm going to pull them out. Okay? I just like that it's not a hard edge, it's going to a kind of fine point. And we're going to put a gradient with white on each end and black in the middle. All right. By going like this. Okay, so it kind of looks like so, and you can mess around with the gradient so you get it to where you want it to be, and just kind of fudge this and make this a little bit smaller. It's too thick. Make it a little thinner by going like that. Okay, so now we have pixel perfect printing. Now I'm going to create that background, and basically all I'm going to do is come up to the rectangle tool, or M on the keyboard, and I'm going to make a bunch of rectangles. I'm going to make a grid, basically. And hold shift when you do this, because then you're going to get this happening. It's going to make a nice fine uniform square. And we're going to make one, and we're going to copy it down by hitting shift option, or option click shift, excuse me, to move it down. And let's see, all right, we're 4, 8, how many do I want to go? Say maybe we make like 20 of these up and down. All right, so that's 10 and 10. And what we're going to do is we're going to come up into our align tools, and if you don't know where they are, you can go to Window, Align, and we're going to distribute them vertical in the center point. And so basically that makes sure that there's the same amount of space between each one. And we're going to now actually go to Command G, and we're going to group these, or you can go to Object, Group over here. And we're going to make 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to bring them over 8. Okay, and now each color, I basically want 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to have 8 times 4 is 32. So I'm going to make that whole thing of 8, and that whole thing of 8. Actually, you know what I'll do? Hold on, back up a second. Excuse me. We're going to have this whole thing of 8, and we're going to Command G that. So we have this grouped as its own selection. Now we're going to copy that over, Option click Shift. Option click Shift, and then the same for this. All right, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to select this entire piece right here, and we're actually going to copy it over because we're going to use it later possibly, and we're going to fill it with a gradient, and we're just going to hit the linear gradient, which is the normal black to white, and we're going to take our gradient tool and just from the top to the bottom just click, and we're going to add. Now we click off here, we see what happens. All right, now basically I have these 1, 2, 3, 4 selections. If you just recall what we did 8 rows of those 4 selections. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this 8, and instead of starting from scratch making a whole new gradient, because the values are going to change where the gradation starts on each one, all you're going to do is while you have it clicked, you're going to come over to your gradient and you're going to add cyan in here. Okay. And that is going to give us, you know what? I don't like the way my values are, so I'm going to make it more white at the top by backing up. Let's see how that works. Okay, that's how I want it to be. All right, so I'm going to add that cyan where the black is. The next one I'm going to do is the magenta, just where the black is. And the last one is going to be the yellow. All right, so what I always like to do when I design is when I do something and I'm happy about it, I like to option, click shift and copy it over, and possibly in case I need it later, because you can only undo so many times in Adobe Illustrator. You don't want to screw yourself up. That's why my canvas always looks like a mess. All right, so now that I have these 4 pieces selected, I'm going to go to Command G and group them, and we're going to now come up to Effects, Stylize. Effects, Distort, and Transform, Free Distort. Okay, now you're going to have this little grid that pops up, and basically all we're going to do is move this in a little bit, and you'll see it kind of snaps to that point, so you can get a uniform look here. All right, I'm going to pull this in a little bit more. We're going to do something like that. Now we're going to hit OK. And to really finalize this, what you want to make sure you do right now, again, like I said, copy it over in case you need to get back to it later. Come up here to the Object tool and go to Expand Appearance. Now, that is its own physical shape. And I'm basically just going to take this and let's line it up with what I have over here. So I get like the same scaling of everything. All right, move it back. I'm basically going to take this. I'm just going to drag it down just a little bit to kind of get it to where I want it to be, and I can always mess around with the the type aspect later and change that to where I need it to be. But that is the top part of the background, and it does fade to nothing. And basically all I'm going to do, I'm going to option click shift, and I'm going to flip this upside down by coming to our reflect tool. This is what I did here. And I'm going to take our direct selection, and I'm going to come up here and I'm going to delete everything but the first line. Do that again. Okay, just like so. And I'm going to now pull this selection down. And basically what I did in mine was I actually made a gradient from black to white, cyan to white. All right, so now we're in here and we're going to add the gradient in here like we did on the bottom, just to kind of break it up a little bit and adds a little bit of personality to this. We're going to come up here and we're going to click on a gradient and make sure it's a linear gradient, from black to white. And we can come in here and change the angle to 90 degrees. And let's take this and just stretch it down just a little bit. Okay, now just like I had those sections before grouped as 4 sections, this is actually grouped as 1. So I need to ungroup this and just manually select 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and throw in cyan where the black is. All right, and actually what I did, hold on one second, let's I made that a little bit darker. Make sure it's on CMYK, and I add some black into that. Okay, same deal here. Throw some magenta in there, but add some black into it. Make it nice and dark, like it's a shadow of a corner. Last one, some yellow. Okay, so now we're gonna make the actual ink drop shape, and basically, before I do that, I'm going to make 4 gradients. All right, make a rectangle. You'll see why I'm doing this. I'm just going to kind of do these right here real quick. And I'm going to, let's see. All right, the first color is going to be white. All right, say we're going to make the cyan one. Now we're going to put cyan in the middle. And then the third color, it's going to be dark. Make sure this is on CMYK. I'll show you what I'm doing in a second. And I'm going to have it as a radial gradient, okay? And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually do the same thing with the magenta. So you know what? What I'll do is I'll just make these all blue, and I'll just substitute the colors. All right, number 2, excuse me. Magenta, and the third color is going to be darker magenta. Okay? We're going to do this with the yellow and the black. Now with the black, just put, obviously like 50% gray in the middle and 100% black. All right, so now we got our 4 gradients. And we're basically going to, and you can add these gradients in the swatches area. I just wanted to put them on the screen like that. And we're going to create this shape. And basically what I did was at first, I created, let's see how I did this. Let's make a circle, and you can either freeform draw the shape with the pen tool, and basically, let's see, we come down to a point, right? And then we have it go in like this. Okay, so it makes that kind of ink drop. Obviously this logo took me a few hours to produce, so there was a lot of fine-tuning involved. So that's what's basically what's going to happen. And then when you have your 2 shapes, you're going to go to your Pathfinder and you're going to unite the shapes by clicking on that, and now you have 1 shape. So basically what I'm going to do is, just so it looks a little nicey nice for this tutorial, all the hard work I did, I'm just going to click the shape that I did and have it over here. I'm going to fill it with black for now. All right, so now we're going to start working on the colors. This is what you're going to learn in this tutorial. It's going to be pretty cool. So let me move some things out of the way. And we don't need these anymore, these extra ones that I copied over, because we did finalize it. Like I said, those are just in case ones. And basically, I'm going to take this shape and I'm going to hit the eyedropper tool and I'm going to select my shape right there. Now, with the gradient, I'm going to kind of put it wherever I want to put it. I'm going to move it like so. All right. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click this, and I'm going to go to Command C. Actually, you know what? Excuse me. Just click this, and yeah, I'm sorry. Command C, Command B. Paste it in the back, And then we're going to go to Object, Path, Offset Path. And basically, I'm going to do a certain amount of pixels that kind of looks like this. And I'm going to make sure the joints are round. I'm going to hit OK. What I did was, that was our original, and it created a path. Actually, you know what? I didn't need to copy that behind itself, excuse me. It automatically did. So we're going to delete that one that I just did and put that right back on top. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this element. I'm going to go to Object, Lock, Selection, Command 2. So now I'm only touching the element that's in the back. I want to take that gradient, all right, and it looks pretty good. And I'm going to come from the bottom left, and I'm going to come to the top right. So basically, the white kind of goes off the edge, and it's still not where I want it to be. I'm going to start in here a little bit more and come over here. Let's see. Oh, you know what? Make sure it's on linear. That'll help. All right, so now we got that little drop right there. And I'm going to fine tune those at the end, make them a little bit more different with the mesh tool. But basically, I'm going to Option, click, Shift, and I'm going to flip this over. And I'm going to make this cyan. And we're just going to eyedrop the selection. Well, I'm eyedropping it. You need to make these gradients in advance. And I'm going to Object, Lock Selection, Command 2. And we're going to do the same thing with this in the back. And I'm just going to make sure it's linear. And I'm going to pull that from the bottom to the top. Now, the linear gradients are only for the second element that's underneath. The originals, this and this, those are radial gradients. I didn't mention that. All right, so now we're gonna copy these down, and we're going to select the yellow. We're gonna select the black, and like I said, we're gonna lock these. Command 2. We're gonna select the yellow again. And we're going to change it to linear, and the black, and change it to linear. Okay, and let's make sure we fix these gradients from top left, from bottom to top left. Okay, and from bottom to top right over here. Cool. All right. Now we need to make sure these are a little bit tinier. Okay, and you know, before I do the finalization of these, basically what you want to do is you want to copy all four of these. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do that by holding the Shift button while you click them. And you want to go to Command C, Command F, paste in front. So now what I have is on each one I have 1, 2, and then this third one in the back. So I'm going to undo, go back to where I was. And basically I'm going to go in each one individually. I'm going to hit the Mesh tool. And when you click this right here, it's going to turn black. Now I'm going to come into cyan because that's the color of the object. And I'm going to make it a darker blue. And I'm going to now, you actually have to click off with your the black arrow, the regular selection tool. And now we're going to go to overlay. Okay. And we're going to now change the opacity, say to about 40%. So basically we went from here, kind of bland and dull, to here, a little bit more vibrant. The shadows are a little bit more crazier. So we're going to do that on all four of these. All right, so now I've done them to all four of them, and you can see this is what they look like on the right, and they're a little bit more defined on the left, a little bit more vibrant. I mean, it's not night and day. It's very close, similar, but you know, you can definitely see that on the first two. So I'm going to delete. These were the old ones, and now I'm going to, since these are 1, 2, 3 levels deep, I want to do two things. I want to make these white strokes behind here to kind of knock it off the background. All right, and create some depth. So basically, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 while holding Shift and going to Command 2 to lock. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, and Command 2 to lock, and then last 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to go to Command C, Command B, put it behind it, and I'm going to change that stroke to white. I'm going to bring it up a couple points. All right, and we're going to start to overlay this and see how it looks. So we're going to pop this in right here. That looks pretty cool. Damn, that just gave me a good idea for something else. But all right, you know what I'm actually going to do? I'm going to, this is a side tip. Ready? We're going to copy this right here. We're going to back up. Okay? We're going to back up. And now, you know, we're going to do whatever we want to do on this. I'm going to put this to the front. I'm going to finish my logo. And as long as I don't copy anything else before the end of this tutorial, I can paste. And now I have my fun little thing I just did there. That looks pretty interesting. I'm going to play with that at some other time. So now I have that white stroke. It knocks it off from the background. And I'm going to take these two and I'm going to put them right in front. I'm going to go to Object, Arrange, Bring to Front. It flips them on top of each other in front. Excuse me. And I just need to do a little bit of tweaking. So I'm going to lock some elements, Command 2. I'm going to move this up a little bit until I get it to where I want it to be. Same deal with the yellow one. You know, there's a lot of tweaking that needs to be done, but you know, you zoom out and you look and you're like, damn, that right there looks pixel perfect. And that's really all I have to say about this one.